Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for our session with Arcadis. My name's Sharon Walpole, and I am from Career Map. I'm hoping the rest of the team are going to be joining me now. Cameras, action. We have a great presentation planned for you today. They're going to be talking to you about the apprenticeship opportunities at Arcadis, and as you can see, you'll even have some real live apprentices to have a chat to and ask your questions. Before we begin, I just thought I would let you know that if you look to your right of your screen, you'll be able to see a chat box, which would be great for you to drop in all your questions during the presentation. Some may be answered during the presentation, but there will be a Q&A at the end. So if you don't get an immediate answer, don't worry. We're scooping them up and getting ready to talk to you. This session, like all of National Apprenticeship Week sessions, is being recorded. You'll be able to watch it again on Career Map Live. So you can share it with others and watch again. Right, so as I said, I'm Sharon Walpole. I'm from Career Map. We're hosting the event. We have all of our guests here. First, we have Alex Sternfield, from the Program Manager for Early Careers, Beth Donovan, the Environmental Practitioner, Hebe Mottis-Davis, Trainee Project Manager, Harvinda Madar, who is a Trainee Project Manager as well. And I immediately spot that we've got Sophie, which I almost forgot as well. Have I got everybody there? I hope so. Great. I'm going to disappear off now and leave our team to give you the presentation and chat and join you for the panel chat later and the Q&A. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for having us. On that note, let me share my screen, which has been a slight challenge today due to technical skills. But I suppose at Arcadis, we do recruit people who are resilient. So we hope that this has now worked. Let me just see. Can everyone see this now? Can someone in the team give me potentially a nod or a yes, rather, that it's all working now?
Yeah.
Perfect, great. So first of all, everyone, welcome to today's call. It's great to have you all here joining us on a virtual call. And in regards to what we will cover today, so first of all, Sharon already gave us a quick introduction, but what we'll do is we'll give an introduction into everyone who'll be on the team and then on who we are as a company. We'll then go through our early careers opportunities before I'll then hand over to Beth, Harvey, Hebe, and Sophie in regards to their experience working at Arcadis. And then at the end, we'll answer any questions that you might have. Perfect. So today you'll hear, first of all, from myself. So my name is Alex Sternfeld. I'm the Early Careers Program Manager at Arcadis. I'll then hand over to Beth, Harvey, Hebe, and Sophie, who will all introduce themselves later on in the presentation, and they'll tell you a little bit more about their life at Arcadis, give you some tips about their experiences, and then we'll go from there. Perfect. But in regards to who Arcadis is, so to start off with who we are as a company. So Arcadis, what we consider ourselves as is as a design, engineering, and consultancy firm that provides solutions for natural and built assets. We've got more than 28,000 people working for us worldwide in approximately 70 countries. And really our mission is to improve the quality of life. This improving the quality of life mission has come from some years back. We originally were established in 1888 with the purpose of transforming unusable land in the Netherlands into land that could be used for farming, to live on, and to build communities. So I suppose our mission to improve the quality of life comes from a couple of years ago. And in addition to this, we're also very big on sustainability, which is really a driving force in all of the projects that we're involved in. Today, many years later, we're still really involved in better housing, looking at transport system, creating iconic places, but also finding solution to the problems that we face in today's environment, may it be water, energy, etc. In regards to what that actually means, design, engineering, consultancy, Arcadis, we've got various areas of expertise. One of them is architecture and design. So that's looking at designing, planning the world around us. We're also involved in consulting, and one of my colleagues will tell you later more about their role in the cost consultancy element. We're also involved in design and engineering. So this could be working as a bridge engineer on bridge structures, as a civil engineer on a highways project. So again, quite a lot of specialisms in the area of engineering. We're also involved in project and program management. Again, two of my colleagues will tell you later a little bit more about their experience as a project manager at Arcadis. And we're also involved in the environmental health, safety and sustainability area. So that, for instance, could be a colleague who might be working on a carbon management project where they look at the carbon footprint of a company, or it could be a safety risk consultant who ensures that trains are done in a system that they can't crash to each other. So really important roles. And last but not least, our specialists and scientists community. So Beth will tell you a little bit more about her role, but specialists and scientists includes everything from ecologists, air quality consultants, to geoenvironmental consultants. So as you can see, in the 28,000 people that work for us, we cover a lot of specialisms, but it can all be summarized in design, engineering, and consultancy. Brilliant. But instead of just listening to me, I've got here a little video where you can find out a little bit more about what Arcadis does.
From climate change and rising sea levels to rapid urbanization and pressure on natural resources, our world is a more complex place. Arcadis helps you navigate this complexity by understanding the bigger picture. Whether it is maximizing space in cities, making wasteland habitable, or simply taking what you do further, we deliver exceptional and sustainable outcomes safely and consistently. Connecting your vision to our know-how, our people work collaboratively to create value through built and natural assets that work in harmony with their surroundings. From shopping centers in Shanghai or clean water in Sao Paulo to new rail systems in Doha and reducing air pollution in Los Angeles. Our global operations and diverse experience mean we apply collective wisdom to every challenge, big and small. In this way, our experience protecting the Dutch coast for generations is applied to securing New York's flood defenses today. So, whatever your challenge, our teams bring the necessary perspective to provide the right answers, now and in the future. Arcadis, improving quality of life.
Perfect. So hopefully in the video, you'll have gotten a bit more into an insight into what Arcadis does and what we stand for. But what we thought it'd be great is to give you some example for projects that we're currently actively working on to just really bring it alive what we do. So to start off, our places sector is currently working on a project in Manchester where they are working together with a charity to transform shipping containers into a village for people without accommodation who are currently homeless. Obviously, a great project to really help those people and really set them up on the right path to then have an address, to look, set up for bank accounts, start employment. So a great project that we're involved with there. Our energy team are also currently involved in an electronic vehicle charging infrastructure project. As you can imagine, electronic vehicle is something that's getting a lot of media attention, but without having charging stations everywhere, it's really a technology that is difficult to engage in. So again, we're involved in a project that looks at setting up the charging infrastructure. So you might then, for instance, go to what in the future might have historically been a petrol station and instead have an elite electric charging point. And last but not least, our mobility team, our rail team is working on HS2. I assume that a lot of you will have heard of HS2 in the news, but in summary, for those of you who haven't, it's a large high-speed rail project that is going to connect the south to the north and really revolutionize the way people travel and really cut the travel time by quite a lot. Perfect. But in regards to early career, so in regards to you and whatever opportunity you're looking for next, Arcadis, we've got a variety of opportunities available. We've got internship, apprenticeships, and opportunities for graduates at Arcadis, and each provide a great opportunity to kickstart your career. In regards to apprenticeships, so our apprenticeships are a great opportunity to begin your career in the discipline that you choose. Being an apprentice really gives you the opportunity to jump straight into a professional career whilst earning a living and studying at the same time. At Arcadis, we offer a variety of internships, for instance, in engineering, project management, cost consulting, data science, and in environmental fields such as transport planning. And Beth will tell you later a little bit more about her role. In regards to the benefits, one of the core benefits really is that you earn whilst you learn. You will be starting a job whilst earning a salary at the same time. So that means there's no debt at the end of your journey. There will be structured on-the-job training. So in line with the government regulation, you'll receive 20% of the job training that can be spent on the course or doing some other training, but also whilst you're doing your rest of your 80%, you'll receive additional on-the-job training to ensure your career progresses like it should do. We also at Arcadis fund and support you for additional accreditation. We work in quite a technical field where chartership and technical qualifications are quite key. So as part of your apprenticeships, besides completing your course, we'll also support you and working towards these accreditations and chartership to ensure your career really gets accelerated. You will also work alongside colleagues that are industry experts. So what a better way to learn than to work together with someone who's in industry in this field. And last but not least, you'll join the Arcadis community. We call ourselves Arcadians. It's just really you can speak together with other apprentices who might have a bit more experience, your line manager community, the graduate community. So it's really a large community of people who are there to support you in your journey as an apprentice. In regards to some key facts, so our applications open in early February. In other words, they're open now. We typically hire 30 to 35 apprentices each year in the different disciplines. Depending on the program you choose, the apprenticeship can vary between 2 to 5 years. And again, depending on the program, there are different requirements, such as a minimum of GCSEs and or A-levels or BTEC diploma. Our apprenticeships are located all over England. And as I mentioned before, as part of the apprenticeship, you will work towards your chartership. So in regards to how to apply and what the selection process is. So the first step would be to go on our website, link the link there as well. And I'm sure Harriet as well can help us at some point by putting the link into the chat. You would look at the opportunities and apply the one which is most suitable to you with a CV and a covering letter. Once you've passed that, you would go through an online behavioral assessment, which would look at providing you with interactive tasks to look at how you respond to challenges, problems, etc. Next stage is an assessment center with a mini interview in it. Then you would go for a final interview, which is 2 parts, one about yourself, your competencies, behaviors, and suitability, and the second one focusing on the industry Arcadis. And last but not least would be an offer. Our offers are all made digital, albeit our technology hasn't been working very well today. All our offers very smoothly come through by an online system, meaning that there is no footprint in regards to printing document, and it's all done virtually. But last but not least, I'm biased. I think Arcadis is a great company, having worked here, but we've also won a number of awards. We've won Glassdoor's Best Places to Work For in 2022. And we've also won the UK's top 5 best big companies to work for with what used to be the Sunday Times Best Companies to Work For, London's #1 best company work for, and the top 5 best companies to work for in construction and engineering. But again, I think the best part of Arcadis is the people who work here. So on that note, I'll pass you over to Beth, who will tell you a little bit more about her experience and at Arcadis.
Great, thank you. Can you guys hear me all right in the team?
I can, thanks.
Brilliant. Hi everybody, my name's Beth Donovan. I'm a new starter apprentice, so I started my apprenticeship in September last year, and my role is an environmental practitioner. So I'm here to talk to you a little bit more about my role and my experience at Arcadis so far. Next slide, please. So the environmental practitioner is a new apprenticeship in general, and it's also new to Arcadis. So it's been really exciting to start here and see the company take on this new opportunity. It's designed to train us as practitioners who are capable of providing environmental expertise that is transferable to a large range of specialisms within the business. And it's really great to see that organisations are wanting to promote sustainable growth in a manner that is practical but is also responsible. And I've seen that Arcadis really want to use fewer natural resources. They want to produce less waste without compromising the quality of the built and natural environment. So yeah, this position is really a very necessary part and important role in our current and future climate at the moment. The nature of the apprenticeship is to expose me to a wide range of interdisciplinary teams within the environmental sector of Arcadis. So I have been able to grow on my foundational knowledge in many different environmental topics so that I can become a well-rounded environmental expert. And this typically means that I will interact with junior and senior members of a project team, working with technical experts within and beyond my profession, as well as engaging with external stakeholders. Sometimes my work has required me to go on site, so most of my work is office-based, but I have had a few opportunities to go out and collect and monitor data using a range of different techniques. Typically I'll work with surveyors or construction site personnel, sometimes even ecologists, anybody with that sort of expertise that I can shadow and learn from has been really valuable. And yeah, it gives you more experience other than office-based. So yeah, that's been really great. Next slide, please. So what kind of work have I been involved in so far? So the 6 months that I've been at Arcadis so far, I'm currently working in a flood risk and hydrology team on a flood relief scheme. So it's really been great to sort of sit into meetings and get to terms with the sort of work that they do, and just sort of almost be a little bit more of a background role. I have just been involved in some admin work at the moment, but it's really great that I can be able to overlook on the wider project and get experience in all of these different teams. Previously, I was working in an ecology team, working on a project called Sizewell C, which is a nuclear plant project, and I was particularly working in this translocation of species and making sure that that was done in an ecologically friendly way. So that was really, really interesting to be involved in that. And later I'm going to talk to you about the university side of my apprenticeship and the way that I'm able to develop my knowledge that way. So yeah, that's... Oh, and I've also had, like I talked before, that I've had experience in field-based monitoring. So one example is I went to the River Wye in Hereford, and I was looking at otters and to see if there was monitoring down the river to see if there was any sign of otters, otter holts and otter spraints, just to make sure that the bridge that was being proposed there would not have any adverse effects on the otters' habitats. Next slide, please. So what has my new experience been like as, what has my experience at Arcadis been like as a new starter so far? So as I was reflecting, one thing that popped into in my mind immediately was that great support I've had from my line manager, my buddy and my team. They've really helped me to balance my workload, helped me with any queries, and helped me to work towards professional and personal development goals, which is really important as a young professional in an industry that's completely new to you. A buddy is basically someone slightly higher up in the business to you that can just help you with any general questions. Like, there's no question too silly. Everyone's really, really welcoming and happy to give you any advice that they can and get you involved in as many projects as you can. And everyone is more than willing to take out time of their day and out their projects just to help you progress and understand things, which has been really great. But equally, I think it's important to remember that as a new starter in a new company, just coming out of A-levels, like, the working world is completely new to a lot of us. It's important to know that you are going to struggle to begin with. Like, a lot of things are going to feel a little bit overwhelming, all the different jargon that goes on and balancing your studies and meeting all these new people and networking. But my advice would be to you to not feel like you have to take on like the whole world upon your shoulders, but just start from one point and slowly work your way up. Like, you'll get there eventually. Like, I just look back at how much I've learned over the last 6 months, and it's actually quite amazing, just how much knowledge and experience you start to build upon. On the right hand side of the slide, you can see in the orange box, there's just a few disciplines that I will eventually have the opportunity to work through. So if you were to apply to this apprenticeship, there's an idea of some of the things that you might be able to have experience in over the 5 years of your apprenticeship. Next slide, please. Yes, so I think this is the last slide of my talk. So this is the university side of things. It's a really great opportunity to be able to study a course and not be in debt, and be able to facilitate what you do in your working day, and to pick up maybe knowledge that you wouldn't otherwise do in the office. So some things that university have really helped me with so far is furthering my understanding of key environmental issues and relevant policies and legislation, so that I can then bring this knowledge into the workplace and help me to produce the work and documents that are applicable. I've also had really great opportunities to develop my Excel skills, maybe things that I haven't learned in A-levels, and my writing and my presentation skills. So before I joined Arcadis, I was very, very shy. I would not even do something like this. So this is like a really big milestone for me to even present in front of people virtually. And this is all things that I've learned through university, and it pushes you to do through these assessments. On the right hand side, there's a orange box, and you can see some of the modules that I've completed so far. And these modules, I've particularly learnt very workplace applicable skills, such as ArcGIS, which is a mapping database that you can layer environmental constraints onto. And the last bullet point is undertaking tripartite review meetings. So this includes consultation with a degree apprenticeship coordinator, my lecturer and my line manager from work. And it's just a way of assessing the progress of my work, ironing out any issues and reviewing my engagement in university. And it's also a really great opportunity for line managers to understand the expectations of an apprenticeship, because often you might find that line managers don't fully understand what the requirements are. So it's a really great opportunity to get them involved in that. And I think that's me done, or have I got one more slide? Oh, last slide. So just some top tips for you guys thinking about applying to apprenticeships in general, or thinking of applying to Arcadis. So number one is to keep up to date with opportunities. So just maybe subscribe yourself to different websites such as gov.uk, constantly be looking for these new opportunities, and I'm hoping that this webinar will give you some inspiration on what to apply for. Number two is spend time and careful examination on your application before you submit. This is really important. I spent a lot of time just making sure I was hitting the job description well, and making sure I was really selling myself to the best of my ability to the employer. Number three, when you get invited to an assessment centre, find yourself a place with little distractions so you can concentrate and make a good first impression. It's really important you've got a really quiet space so that you can fully concentrate, because it's really difficult it being virtually if you're not going in person to present yourself well. So just make sure you're dressing smart, your connectivity is working, and you're in a place that is quiet. That's a really good tip. And number 4, make sure that you are yourself and you don't sort of present a different person to who you are, because if you end up getting the job and the work doesn't fit you, it's sort of, you've put yourself in that situation because you tried to be someone that you're not. So just be completely yourself, because you're going to get the position that way, when they can truly see yourself and your passions and your desire to learn. And the last one of my tips is to ask lots of questions. It is for the employer to understand yourself and see if you're applicable to the role, but it's also a great opportunity for you to find out more about Arcadis and more about the role before you start. And I think that's me. Thank you, everybody.
Perfect. Thank you, Beth. On that note, if I hand over to Harvey to tell us a little bit more about himself.
Hi guys, can you hear me? Is my audio on? Cool. All right. Hi guys, I'm Harvey, and I'm a apprentice project manager at Arcadis. I've been here since 2019, and on my way to finish my degree off this year and then start my chartership. So transitioning into my RICS chartership has already started. So what I've done is obviously started with the apprenticeship, done the degree bit, and now we're in the final stages of getting that complete, and then we're going to go into the RICS. And this is sort of just a short snippet of what I've done and sort of how I've developed to get to the stage that I'm at. On to the next one. So a little bit about myself, like I mentioned on the first one, 3 years in, doing my 1 day off a week before my university stuff has helped me develop week by week, but not just doing the university stuff, actually being on site, talking to sort of, seniors, project directors, all the people that are involved in the construction industry just helped me develop and become more involved. Before I got into sort of construction management, project management in sixth form, I already knew that I really wanted to get into project management because I was working somewhere who I knew that was a project manager, and I sort of got an influence from them. Yeah, so that's pretty much a little short snippet about me. On to the next one. So some of the projects that I worked on the last 3 years, firstly, Princess Street, it's a Fora was a client, and it was an office space. So we done it from shell and core to the fit out. And as you can see on the top with the black facade, that's the office that we done. And then secondly, I worked on Queen Square, Croydon, phase 1 and 2, the development of a 50-story tower building alongside 2 smaller units, which is mixed with the residential and commercial. And then finally, the current project I'm working on at the moment is the Waterloo development, which is where we procured Eurostar Tunnel, and we are now redeveloping that with the client LCR. I don't know how much information I can give, but it's a shopping centre, and if you're ever in the area, you can see that probably end of this year. On to the next one. Can you still hear me, guys, by the way? Because I just heard some ringing went off in my ears.
We can, thank you.
Yeah, some of my responsibilities include change control, contract administration. So anything that changes on the contract, so to ensure that everything goes smoothly, I instruct the change in a form. And then also I attend weekly meetings for various elements that happen on site, just to see that these things are happening correctly and things are on program. And then finally I also do weekly site visits where I see is everything on track to being complete. On to the next one. What helped me get here was firstly my networking. The more people you know, the better you understand the the environment that you're going into. So make sure you talk loads. Don't be afraid to, open up, speak to people, and be yourself. That's one thing that I've, understood at an early stage, is making sure that you network. It's who you know, what you know. It's who you know, not what you know. So make sure to network as much as you can. Work experience. So just knowing that you should do some work experience in what you want to get into, the field that you want to get into. Speaking to others, like I mentioned throughout these slides, is understand that you need to speak to people in the profession so that you can actually develop and understand that that you can actually develop by actually, speaking to them. They can help you with the assignments. They can help you with sort of, queries that you have. Understand that you must take on your responsibilities. They're your responsibilities. If you don't action on these, you're working in a real environment. You have to be professional, so that you've got to make sure that you're, meeting the deadlines, you're chasing people, because say you've got a client who's, asking for X file or X document, like the instructions that I mentioned for the change control. If you're not, taking that responsibility to issue that to the contractor, you're the one who's going to be in trouble. So just making sure that those, responsibilities are being taken care of and you're on top of them. And finally, you've got to enjoy what you do. Don't get into a profession that you're not enjoying. Just know that, something that you want to enjoy, you're not actually getting up to go to work. You're actually getting up to do something that you love. So enjoy what you do. And then finally, the last slide is my top tip. So this is sort of something that I, came up with and I always sort of, go by it sometimes. Go and look for the opportunity rather than waiting for it to come to you, because if you understand, what you want, the opportunity, you must find it yourself. You've got to find those doors. You've got to open those doors yourself. You can't just like, there's the opportunity, it's come to you. I know it sounds a bit cheesy, but like, as long as you understand that there are opportunities out there, but if you don't actually go and seek them, you're not going to get them. Just like how, Alex mentioned, sort of the step-by-step process of getting through that, stage 1 to stage 5 for the sort of process of getting an apprenticeship. Just making sure that, you go out there and find the opportunity. You've got to go through the no's to get to the yes. And that's me. Thank you, guys.
No, that was great. Thank you so much. And on that note, if I could hand over to you, Hebe.
Thanks, Alex. So hi, everyone. I'm Hebe. I'm doing project management apprenticeship. I'm in my 3rd year, so I've got 1 more year of university, and then I am doing my chartership. Next slide, please, Alex. So this is briefly touching on how I chose my apprenticeship and what I did to get there. So I did lots of different types of work experience within my sixth form, with lots of different roles in the construction industry. So I worked with developers, surveyors, project managers, quantity surveyors, multiple other different types of roles, which really helped me kind of narrow down why I was interested in construction and then what role in particular I was more interested in. So that was really great. And I made an effort to connect with all of those people that I spoke to on LinkedIn, and then built my network through them. I also had a mentor. She helped me massively and was a massively important factor in me getting an apprenticeship. She was a real driver and she really wanted me to do that. And as she thought that was the best route for me, which I also definitely agreed with. So she got me to lots of networking events. She got me into lots of meetings, work experience. I did lots of like day work experiences with different companies, which has kind of helped understand again the different varieties and roles and the kind of clients that you can work with. So that was massively helpful and again built my network. It's all around your network and finding out what you exactly want to do. Once I knew kind of roughly what I wanted to do, I then applied to lots of different companies through not going to uni, the government website, and then if there was a company in particular that I wanted to work with, I'd send them an email and asking if there was any work experience, any placements, what they could offer me. So I built connections through that way as well. I'm quite a confident person, so I worked on my confidence and made sure that I'd go into a room and I'd speak to people. I wasn't afraid to talk to people, and then they knew my name, I knew their face, and it kind of just helped me feel like I knew what I was doing and going in the right direction, because then you'd see people at an event and you'd have a chat to them, and it would definitely help me a lot. I worked hard on expanding my knowledge, so I wanted to stand out in a way that I knew more than someone else did if they were in an interview, which definitely helped me because I had quite a lot of knowledge on a variety of different aspects of the industry, when I went in to do my interviews, which I think made me stand out. I got my CV reviewed a lot by a lot of different people, and having someone that can give you constructive criticism is only going to be helpful. So if you've got your CV, give it to school to have a look through, give it to career people, give it to your parents, anyone that can give you advice, definitely take it. And the same again with interview prep. Get as much interview prep as you can and you'll be absolutely fine. I went to different apprenticeship evenings. So at those evenings, it was usually like a talk by the company, and then it was kind of like a Q&A, and then a bit of like a networking event, which really, again, great to boost your network, understand what that company would offer you, and see what other people's thoughts were about this. And then if I was keen on it, I'd then apply and send them an email saying thank you, because thank you email is always a good thing, and it just gets your name known. And again, they'll know you and connect with them on LinkedIn. Next slide, please. So my apprenticeship journey. So I went to quite a top school in the UK, and it was very much focused on going to the top universities in the UK and abroad. So they focus on your UCAS, on your uni applications rather than other options. So my mentor and I went out and found and upskilled ourselves on apprenticeships and the apprenticeship route, and getting a part-time job and doing uni on the side and seeing kind of what worked best for me. It then also gave me the opportunity to upskill my school so they could understand more about the apprenticeship route for other people. I knew that uni wasn't necessarily, the traditional uni route wasn't the route for me. So that's why I went to my career department to see if they could give me interview prep and help me refine my CV, which they did. Back to my work experience, I connected with people, and then I followed up and asked if they had any roles, if they knew of any roles going, all those different things. And then I took my learnings from that and put them into interview practice. I pushed myself out of my comfort zone. I attended lots of networking events alone. I went to a RICS networking event in London. I went to a University of Estate Management networking event and found out more about what they did. And that is now the university that I'm with, but I was also going to go and do a part-time course with them whilst working. So that was really great. I was offered my apprenticeship at school. I had really good predicted grades. Unfortunately, I didn't quite achieve those, but I was still able to do my apprenticeship regardless. So once I've finished my apprenticeship, I'll have a degree in construction project management, and I'll also be a chartered surveyor through RICS. Next slide, please. So my day-to-day, so for the last 3 years, I've been working with NatWest and Royal Bank of Scotland within their retail banking sector. So I started doing a lot of data management and just a bit, not necessarily admin, but kind of the background work. So I looked through trends that they could find, different data that contractors had inputted and given us, and worked through the dates and building trackers and things that they could track what projects were going on when. It made me learn a new software, so that gave me something that I'd stand out in. Nowadays, I'm working on closing down branches, which is quite an interesting process and something that I didn't necessarily think I would do. I also work on their new One Bank hub, which again, really interesting. With the closing of old branches, and also I did some work with their ATMs and their cash machines. That's a lot of program management. Again, very client facing, constantly talking to my contractors and main stakeholders, but it's more program rather than project. So with the new hubs, they're more project management. With the new hubs, I've got a lot more site experience. I'm going to site once a week, once every 2 weeks to check progress. And that's me liaising with my contractor and also the client, which again, great to do. I have a lot of meetings every day because I'm constantly talking to people, chasing up on actions, a lot of data management and just managing people and relationships. And then also 1 day a week, I have university. So that's my day to day. Next slide, please. And then finally, my top tips. So get as much work experience as you can, even if that's a day, even if it's a meeting with someone. Get your name out there, get knowing people, make connections. That is the most important thing you can do. Again, it's not what you know, it's who you know. As many connections as you can is great. It's never going to be a bad thing. Apply for as many different apprenticeships or jobs as you can. Again, there's no problem in doing that, and you've got nothing to lose. Have a backup option. So I have a place at university. I've also had other job offers. So I knew that if an apprenticeship. Didn't turn out to be quite what I was expecting. I had something to fall back on. Again, it could be another apprenticeship, could be uni, could be a job offer. Be yourself. Don't ever be afraid to be yourself in work, in your interview, anything. Be yourself. It's the most important thing you can do. Don't be shy. Ask as many questions as you got, because if you don't ask, you're not going to find out. And then if you get to an interview stage, be confident in your ability. Do research on your company. Get interview help beforehand. If you don't get the job from the interview, ask for feedback, work on it, and then you'll be in a better position for your next interview. And then ask questions to your employer. They can give you as much information as you need. It's about interviewing them as much as it is about them interviewing you. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. On that note, Sophie, if I can hand over to you.
Yeah, of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Sophie Hendry and I am a level 6 degree apprenticeship in cost consultancy. Go to the first slide, please. So a bit about me and before my apprenticeship. So my education and experience involves, I studied an A-level in geography and achieved a B, and then I decided to study an access to higher education diploma in construction, business, finance and law. This kind of shows that you don't always necessarily need the typical 3 A-levels or 4 A-levels to go and apply for things like this. They do take into account other options that you may have done. And I also completed work experience for a small surveyors team in the Cotswolds. So I chose the apprenticeship route because I wanted to learn on the job and get practical experience whilst doing a degree. Unfortunately, my school discouraged apprenticeships and advocated for university a lot. So I was kind of on my own in terms of finding out what I wanted to do. I wanted to enter the world of professionals so that I could grow my network from a young age and build it upon during my apprenticeship. And I like to think in the past 3 years, I've done that a lot through LinkedIn. It's one of the best tools that I could recommend to you in order to grow your network and get to know more people in your area. And I've always been passionate about the built environment and sustainability, and becoming a cost consultant will have more of an impact when costing a project in the next couple of years with the new Future Home Standard coming out and the aim for us to get to net zero. Next slide, please. So the advantages of doing an apprenticeship, I think, is that you obviously earn while you learn. You get your high quality training from accredited universities and colleges. So my university is the University of the West of England, and I get a day release there once a week to do my university work. You get to meet different types of people and you expand your network, and that's not necessarily through work, that's also through university. So my really close group of friends at university, they all come from different consultancies, they come from Network Rail, so it all depends on who you meet at that time. It offers opportunities you may not get if you're just studying at university. You get to learn that project experience that is imperative for when you first start the job role and as you continue to grow. You gain a level of responsibility within your designated team. And I think that 3 years, you grow massive as a person, and being able to have that responsibility really allows you to become a better person and a better employee for the work. You get your practical project experience, and you also gain transferable skills that will be applicable for the future. Once you learn the skills early on, you will always have them. So you need to think of it as that if you start now, you will always keep building on it. It won't be a step back if you do an apprenticeship instead of going to university full time. You get the advice and the knowledge given to you by colleagues. Asking questions is one of the biggest things ever. I always get told that no question is a silly question, because it is so important to be able to learn from these people. And you have a newfound confidence and maturity in your role. A lot of us in the apprenticeship kind of group, we're all in the age bracket of 18 to 24. So we are younger, but we all get on well. We all have a confidence in our projects, and we all have a confidence in what we know and learn during our time at Arcadis. Next slide, please. So my top tip is that it can be a challenge at times balancing work, university and work and a social life, but it's all worth it in the long run. As long as you keep on top of all of your work and all of your deadlines, it actually does not become an issue. It's when you start to let things fall behind that is when it will catch up on you. So I would say keep a weekly checklist of everything you need to do, and make sure you do that on a Monday or a Friday or whenever suits you, because then you will never get bogged down by it. Next slide, please. So what does my apprenticeship entail? So I am a trainee cost consultant, which is a quantity surveyor. I have the day release to do university study, but you will need to do some more in your own time. So within the apprenticeship, you get your 20% off the job training, which is your university day, but the rest of the work you will need to do in your own time. It will be weekends, it will be evenings, especially when it comes up to exams and coursework deadlines. It's really important to put the hard work in at that point. I know that it can be difficult, but pushing through that and making sure that you do it and get it done will always pay off in the long run. At the end of my apprenticeship, I will be prepared to sit my APC to become chartered. So I will be aiming to sit my chartership in 2.5 years. Obviously, that is all dependent on project experience and after I graduate as well. I am a part of the development-led infrastructure team in Bristol, and that is under Highways Consultancy. So as a QS, I work on pre-contract projects and cost strategic infrastructure for large housing development clients. These housing developments can range from 100 units to up to 4,000. It all depends on the specification given to us by the client and what is required. And day to day, my role mainly focuses on measurement and tender costing of the infrastructure. So that is roads and drains and all the strategic infrastructure that is needed for a new project. There's small and large projects based in the southwest, but this can vary. They can be up and down the country. So it all depends kind of what we get given at that time. And I think that is my presentation done. Thank you.
Perfect. Brilliant. Thank you, everyone. On that note, I'll stop sharing so I can see the questions again. So let's go through the questions. We've got still 10 minutes. Scroll up. Perfect.
Should I scroll through? I've sort of grouped the questions in together so we can maybe get through a bit more quickly. And of course, everyone else, if you put your cameras on so we can see your lovely faces, that'd be great. Thank you, because a lot of them will be answered by different people. If I ask the questions, Alex, then maybe you can say who you think would be the best person to answer. We have a couple of questions about projects and types of apprenticeships. John wanted to know what type of projects do apprenticeships get to work on, although I think hopefully by the time you finish speaking, you've heard quite a few on that one. And Atharva has asked, does Arcadis have aerospace and aeronautical sector work?
Okay, perfect. So, I mean, some of it I'm going to answer and I might hand over to someone. So at Arcadis, we've got an aviation team. So what we work on is, for instance, on aviation consultancy, that could be looking at a company or maybe even a private person buying or selling an airport. And we look at, for instance, the expansion of this airport. We also worked on Manchester Airport on the renovation of the Terminal 2. So yes, we have an aviation team. It's slightly different to aerospace, but have a look on our website and you'll be able to find out much more. But in regards to the projects, I don't know if, for instance, Hebe, you might give a bit of information about, you know, some of the smaller to biggest projects you worked on.
Yeah, sure. So I've worked on a whole wide different variety within financial institutions. So I've done some work with NatWest and the Royal Bank of Scotland, managing their property and closing and opening new branches, also working on the different ATMs and SDMs that they have in their branches. I've also worked with Tesco to help with like aerofoils, which is something in their big fridges, and that's massively reduced their carbon use. So that's something that's quite sustainable and really interesting. But we do a whole wide variety of different things.
We had a really interesting conversation from Sheila that's there on the chat with her class today. They had a few questions from the class. I'm sorry to fire them out, but you might be able to say which will go for best. What skills do you look for in potential employees? What types of projects? Well, we did talk about projects. We'll move on. And do you offer work experience programs?
Perfect. So in regards to the skills we look for, so at Arcadis, what we're looking for, first of all, is people who buy into our tagline of improving the quality of line with a sustainability mindset. Everything we do is really always keeping that at the back of our mind. So we're looking for people who are really passionate about sustainability and just looking at the world as a known and seeing how we can improve upon it, and maybe not always repeating the status quo, but rather about looking how can we do things differently. in order to do that, one of the core skills we believe people need to have is resilience. You might have seen the technology didn't work at the end, but we still pushed through and got it working one way or another. So it's about looking at challenges, being resilient. It's also being able to deal with ambiguity. And one thing that is sure is no one knows what the workforce is going to look in 10 years. Digitalization, looking at the world as it is, it's changing so quickly. So we know that those people who work for us today might do something slightly different in 10 years' time. So it's being able to look at a problem and just go with it. Again, we're looking for people with a growth mindset. So people, you know, who want to learn, who want to develop, and again, just keep building on their skills. But again, probably a very brief summary of what we're looking for, but I'd say those are really 3 of the key, or 4 of the key skill sets that we'll look for. In regards to work experience, this is something that is at the moment, due to COVID, a bit ambiguous. It is something we've done in the past. Unfortunately, due to us being a company where a lot of the work is done outside or working from home, it is something that we've been doing slightly less of, but when we do, it'll be all advertised on our website.
Great. We have some specific questions about apprenticeships themselves. Josh wanted to know what happens when you finish an apprenticeship.
Again, on that note, would someone of you mind answering, since you're coming towards finishing your apprenticeship soon? Again, I don't know if you mind giving a bit of information, since you're going slowly towards.
Yeah, no, I'll go.
Okay, thank you.
So I've got 2.5 years left of my apprenticeship. So after I have graduated, I will still be classed as a trainee until I've passed my chartership. That is when you pass the APC and you've done your assessment, so you can become MRICs. After that, we continue to stay in the job and we will progress up the levels as we learn more. So most of the time, once you finish as a trainee, you either go up to a graduate or an assistant, and then you will continue to work at that level, maybe for 1 or 2 years, and then you'll move up to the next level. So it's all a continuation of growth of what you've learned at the very start.
It might be worth noting that all our apprenticeships are permanent opportunities. So what Sophie just said is you finish your apprenticeship and you continue with the company. It's not that you're on a contract that then finishes, you're permanent with us. So you just move on to the next challenge, as Sophie just said.
Great. We've had 2 questions, one from Ria and one from Dom, that said, what type of additional job training would I get? And what is the training like at Arcadis?
So in regards to job training, do they mean, I'm going to answer what I think you mean by that.
I think that's the best approach, because I think they probably are actually asking what is the apprenticeship like. But I think it's quite interesting, if it's relevant, that other qualifications and maybe other sorts of training opportunities that come around, because I know with a lot of organizations, there's other types of qualifications you may get along the way.
Yeah. Again, I can see a couple of people nodding to jump in there. I mean, I think a couple of people have just spoken, just mentioned it's the chartership. For those of you who don't know what chartership is in summary a technical qualification or kind of status that you get by completing various modules and an exam in order to then call yourself a chartered project manager, a chartered engineer with bodies such as RICS. And this is really key in our industry. And what we'll do as part of it, you'll get assigned a mentor who's there to support you. We also have our own learning and development department who are there to help you, for instance, with mock exams. So that is one of the, I suppose, on-the-job training that we'll support you with. And as we've just mentioned, some people even sit it still at the end of their apprenticeship. So it's something that you'll be way ahead of other people who might start this after having finished university and then starting from zero there. We also have learning modules, so it might be modules such as communication skills, presentation skills, so the soft skills that will be really useful for you to develop in your career. And last but not least, it's difficult to give you an answer for all because each area has slightly different requirements. So what Sophie might do might be very different to Beth. So again, there's always ad hoc opportunities and training depending on what you do. But any one of those people who are in the apprenticeship want to add anything to that?
I can add in there. Sorry, Harvey, you go.
Do you want to go first?
No, you go.
Just wanted to say that with the APC, you do get assigned a counsellor. And then you also get sort of invitations to mock Q&As. So essentially, when you sit your APC, what happens is you have an assessment and you get a pre-call, which is before you even get to the stage of actually, you know, having that real assessment at a RICS, at the actual RICS spot. So what happens is you sit in the mock interviews and you listen in, you get the notes, you know, you have to sort of have your diary, and you get that mentorship within Arcadis. So that's one thing that as an apprentice, you get that sort of experience beforehand. Instead of actually going to university, you get that before you even, you know, get into sort of the role. So like essentially, say if someone's coming out of university, they've been there for say 3 years, you know, and they get into their job, they're 2 years behind you essentially, because they still need to get that experience to do that APC. Yeah, if you want to carry on, Hebe.
Thanks, Harvey. I was also going to mention I'm manage risks for NatWest, so I've done risk management training, and there's also, if you're a project manager, you can do agile, you can do waterfall. There's lots of different ways of being a project manager, and so there's lots of different training that Arcadis offers internally. And if it's something that you want to do, it's going to be a benefit to the company. If you do this, then Arcadis will also pay for you to do that.
Brilliant. There's just one last quick question, because we are officially out of time, but we did have people ask, and I feel it would be remiss not to ask, and this probably is definitely you, Alex, but we had a couple of international students on here, and just generally speaking, do you do recruitment from places like Hong Kong for apprenticeships or your other programs?
Again, probably a long question to answer, but in summary, for some of opportunities, yes, we do. Again, there are some sectors which are a bit due to, such as, for instance, nuclear, where due to government regulations, you have to be a British citizen to work on those projects due to safety elements. But for some of our opportunities, we do. Again, I'll refer you back to our website where you find opportunities on there. So have a look on there.
Brilliant. Excellent. Well, we're almost overrun, and so many great questions. I think we got through most of them. Very exciting to hear that we've got classrooms joining us. I love to see that, and I hope you can get in touch with us at info@careermap.co.uk and let us know what you think. I'd like to say a thank you to everyone here who has joined us. If you want to say a quick farewell and your name and farewell, we'll start Alex around the screen. And
yeah, perfect. Well, thank you everyone for joining, and thank you for having us, Sharon. It was great to speak to you all, and I hope that for all of you, whatever path you choose, that there will have been one snippet of information that would have been useful, and all the best. I'm sure you'll do great.
Great. Thank you so much. This event is being recorded like all of our events. If you haven't had a chance to see the end or want to share it, please pop by nationalapprenticeshipweek.co.uk. Thanks again, and hopefully we'll see you at some more of our events. Bye, everyone.